Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun with Benzion as part of Yeshiva YouTube. We're learning Kesubos Lamed Tet number 39 today. Um, as we've done this paragraph, we've talked about two different types of incidents, onus and mafata. Onus is when a man rapes her. It's very understandable why he has to pay a knas to the father, to her, in certain circumstances. Mafata, which means basically the guy seduces her. I mean, that's really every case. The man has to win the woman over. If he wants to marry her, if he wants to get a wife, he wants to get a girlfriend, he has to win her over. He has to seduce her. So why are you paying a knas? What did you do wrong over here? Um, so the obvious answer, maybe some of you thought of that, is that seducing obviously means what girl are we talking about? We're only talking about a nara. I mean, she's only 12 years old, right? She's a minor. Statutory rape. I mean, this is what we're talking about. Statutory rape. I mean, even if she agreed, it's called statutory rape. She's under 15 according to American law, I think. But she doesn't have the mindset to be able to fend them off, to say no. She can't say no. So it's almost like rape. It's not like rape, but it's almost like rape. So that's what mafata really is. Therefore, you pay a knas over here. Now, the Gemara says that the halacha is the mafata, as opposed to onus, honestly, when you have to marry her and you can't get divorced from her. Mafata, you can decide after you seduced her, if you want, you don't have to marry her, but you have to pay the knas to the father. And if you do marry her, then you don't have to pay the 50 shekalim to anybody. Right? So what's going on over here? Why in one case you have to pay, one case you don't have to pay? So the answer is that obviously they mentioned there's a price for psulim. There's a price. The first bia with a woman has a value to it. The Torah ascribes a value to it. The value is 50 shekalim, which translates into 200 zuz, 200 dinarim, whatever the currency, I believe, in that country you are residing, 200 of that currency. And that is the value of a psulim, of her virginity. You took that away from her, you seduced her. Now, if you go and marry her, so if you go and marry her and you want to marry her, that shows that really it wasn't such a seduction what you really did. You really liked the girl. You wanted to be married to her. You didn't know how to handle it, or maybe you didn't care about halacha and things like that. Maybe Bala Pnuya didn't really get much attention with you. You don't pay so much attention to halacha. You wanted to be with the girl, so you plan on marrying her. You seduced her. Now you'll get married later. So therefore, she, knowing that you want to get married to her, she waived. She was mocheles. She waived her virginity, or the value of her virginity. Right, she has the ability to make a business deal. Right, if she wants to get into a marriage, hey, you can't marry me unless you give me my 50 shekalim or my 200 zuz, because that's the price for my virginity. You want that, you got to pay up. But if she says, you know what, she's promiscuous, she waived it. She waived it already, and the evidence is if you get married to her, so we see she waived it, and she waived it legitimately. However, if the guy decides he's not marrying her, we know it's a case where this guy's just a player over here. He just likes seducing girls, sleeping around, having fun. So then he sort of took advantage of the girl. She's a nara, right? And she's 12 years old. She's not a very old girl. She seduced her. So you have to pay, when you decide not to marry, that's showing that you took advantage of her. And you have to pay the price for her virginity that you took by sleeping with her. Now, that's understandable. Onus obviously is not like that. He rapes her. He always has to pay. But now back to the top of the Gemara, where the Gemara says that there's another difference in onus and mafata. Then onus is you have to pay for tsar, cause her pain. Mafata, you don't want to pay for tsar. So the Gemara tries to figure out what tsar are we talking, what pain are we talking about. Now, the Gemara and Tosas also on Daf Lamed Tav and Aleph says that the tsar, the physical pain of breaking the hymen, is not really a tsar that you have to pay for, because there's pleasure. It's a short pain. It's like taking off a Band-Aid, with hair. The Gemara describes it in other ways, putting a bald man taking a hot shower, or putting in a phlebotomist, putting in a needle to take blood or something like that. These things which are a sharp pain for a very short amount of time, and you have some pleasure afterwards. He has the pleasure of the intercourse afterwards. So, it's not really pain, because whatever pain is, and there's a momentary pain, is taken away by the fact that there's pleasure afterwards. That's not the tsar. That's basically, I think, what the Gemara asks. The Gemara says, Mafuta also has tsar, and the Gemara before the two dots on Lamed Tenem base gives three examples. It's like pouring hot water, taking a bald man taking a hot shower, right? It hurts, but then he likes the shower. So that's not considered the sar. So what is the sar? So the sar is pisuk raglayim. She spreads her legs, right? You can't get in unless she spreads her legs. Now, Ones has spreading her legs. What doesn't have spreading her legs? The Gemara says, what do you mean? Mafuta also she has spread her legs. So the Gemara answers, Mafuta, the Gemara says, Pikho Shebehen. Amar Rav Nachman Rav Shmuel, about the fifth line. Sorry, not that one. Amar Rav Nachman, 8 lines down. Amar Rav Shmuel, Pikho Shebehen, Omros Mafuta Ein Lasar. She doesn't have star. The Pikho Shebehen. Why the smart ones among them? What are we talking? The smart ones among them? She doesn't have star. What does that mean? It doesn't explain what it does mean. What does that mean? So when you say Pisuk or Galayim, though it's not physically painful for a woman to open her legs, it is very emotionally and traumatically painful for a woman to spread her legs, because every woman, even though if they're promiscuous at one point, they hold their virginity very dear to them. They know internally and subconsciously virginity is a very important thing. You don't just mock yourself to everybody. I mean, you want it, it's something private, it's something you want to hold on to. And spreading your legs and allowing a man to enter you, to penetrate you, so that's emotionally painful, even traumatically painful. So that's what the Gemara is saying. Pikos ein lahem sar. The pikos, only the smart ones, because the smart ones, meaning the smart girls, they can tell if the guy is seducing them and really he's taking advantage of them, and he's being a player, and he just wants to have fun with them, and then he'll move on to the next girl. Right? If you're not a pikos, you're not very astute, you're not a very socially smart person, people will take advantage of you. So that's what the pikos were saying. They know, right? If you're not, that's what they're saying. The smart ones say they have sar. I mean, they're saying about the people that are not smart. The not smart ones, they get taken advantage of by players, and they just are together with them, and then they leave. So that's a sar. It's a sar because they got taken advantage of, right? But if the pikos know that if the girl is knowledgeable enough, she's socially adept and socially smart to understand that this is a man that's not taking advantage of, right? He might not want to get married to have sex, but he'll have sex and he'll continue to have a relationship with her and marry her because he really likes her. So they can understand these things, they can know these things. So if they understand, they know that, right? So then, Mafuta ein latzar. She doesn't have pain because it's not traumatic for her. It's emotionally traumatic for her because she's not getting taken advantage of. She knows this guy really likes her and they're going to get married, so it's not traumatic for her. But if she doesn't know, right, and she gets taken advantage of, then there's going to be tsar. So that's what the Gemara is saying. Mafuta has a payment, does not have a payment of tsar. Maybe only in the case, I don't know if lo plug the Gemara says this, but Pikos Shebehen, smart girls know that a mafuta, or maybe it's the case in most cases of mafuta, I don't know the statistics, but where they know intuitively that the man's going to want to be with them, he's going to eventually marry them, so it's not emotionally painful for them, as opposed to Ones, where he rapes her. It is traumatic, it is emotionally painful. It's the conclusion of today's show. I hope you enjoyed. I think this makes the most sense of everything. See you in the next one.